Hello and welcome to this fourth tutorial video on how to make a button jointed ragdoll. This is the front of the head and we're going to start off by sewing this centre dart. So we fold it in half. This is right sides in, wrong sides out, and we're going to start off by pinning up at the very top this kind of join here where the two ends come together. It's a nice definite point to line up, and we're going to go down to the bottom. Now it doesn't really matter how angled this join is at the bottom, where you don't have to kind of blend your dart in that you're going to sew, because your nose is going to sit over the end of that, so you're not really going to see it. It is going to be more important when we come to the others. So sew down there, and then now on these bottom ones we're going to line those up. It's a short dart. These are short darts around the bottom, but they're very important. They give us the cheeks and the chin and all of the shape at the bottom of the head. And one of the ways we go wrong when we're sewing these is that we don't make them smooth enough. So I'll talk you through that in a moment. So I'm on the other side of the head now doing the second side dart, and I'll pop another couple of pins in there, and then we're going to do the centre dart, which is the chin dart. So line that up again, and another short dart. Just pop a couple of pins, make sure that edge is spot on. There we go. Now we'll use this centre one, I think, because it's the most angled. You can see there's a very definite point, and that's what we want to lose. If we sew straight across, we get an angle, and we want to curve it around, cutting off that edge. And we go about twice as far up there as our dart is, starting 5mm out, about 1/4 inch, and curving it right until it touches the edge. And now we have the two back pieces of the head, and they have little tiny darts again. Doesn't matter about angling this one in, because it's going to be covered by the hair. Whatever hairstyle you do, unless you're going for a completely bold doll, you're going to be able to hide these darts underneath. So just sew them straight and they'll give you a bit of shape to the head. And we do that on both of those pieces. Make sure you have a left and a right. It's very easy to mess that up. I've done it on a few occasions when I've sewn two the same, so it's a good idea to lay them flat like this and make sure that you have two opposite pieces. Last pin in place there, and check I have a left and a right before I sew those darts, just in case. Now I've got 4 pieces that will make 2 ears for me, and I'm going to place them together with the right sides in and the wrong sides out, like that. And I'm going to pin them together. This is another one that I'm going to do by hand. In fact, I do the majority of my doll, if not all of my doll, I'll do by hand, just because I love to sit and sew by hand. I find it so relaxing. And we're going to sew around the top curve of the ear down to the bottom, and leaving this section open for turning right sides out, and the same with the other ear. So I have my 2 back head pieces with the darts sewn. I have my head front with the bottom 3 darts and the top dart sewn, and I have my ear position notches marked, and my 2 ears right sides out. Very important that your ears are right sides out. I'm going to pin my ears into position. You don't have to pin your ears into position. Here's the top curve and the bottom. They're going to go, that top curve is going to go against the right side of the face and up against that top ear notch. So pin that there, I do this because I find it much easier to pin my front and back of my head together without having to worry about the ear position. So I'll pin this in place now, the ear right sides out against the right side of the fabric of the front of my head, and I'm going to do the same on the other side, and I'll tack that in place. I'll just show you another one there just in case. So the top curve of the ear against the top, the notch there, which is the top of the ear position, and the open side of the ear, the open edge of the ear against the outside of the head. Right sides of the fabrics together, so the ear right side out and against the right side of the head. Pin that, and then we'll just tack that in position there and there. I've drawn on the face of my doll. I'll explain why I haven't painted it in a moment. We have the two back pieces of the head, and we're going to place them right sides together, wrong sides out, one on top of the other, with the darts lining up there at the back of the head. And we're going to pin from the top of the head down to that top pair of darts, and we're going to pin the very bottom of the head at the neck gusset, the kind of the bottom of the head gusset position, to the other two darts, and we'll leave the center section open. So we're going to sew there, and we're going to sew there, and we're going to leave this for filling, and it needs to be wide enough for the button to go through. Here's the back of the head sewn together. I've placed that right sides up, and I've got the front of the head, and I'm placing that over the top. Of course, with the ears are in between these two layers here at the edge. So I'm going to pin the very bottom, pin the front and the back of the head together at the bottom. So this is all right sides together, wrong sides out, and with the ears in between the layers, and the ears are right sides out. And we'll pin this together around, and just below the ear at this point. Oh, try the pointy end of the pin. That's good. Good. Use the pointy end of your pin. Always a good tip. If you can think of any equally useful tips, please do leave them in the comments below. Up to the top there where the darts come together. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've drawn around my face. I've drawn the face onto the right side of the fabric, but I haven't painted it yet. And the reason is I don't know what colouring my doll's going to have. I haven't decided what colour hair she's going to have, so I don't know what colour her eyes are going to be or anything like that. So by penciling the face on now, I can paint it on easily later, and I don't have to worry about the positioning. It's a lot easier to, if you're not going to paint, at least draw the face onto the fabric if you're going to do a painted face when it's flat. Of course, if you're going to do glass eyes, you don't need to do any of that because you can add the eyes at the very end. So here we're going all the way around, catching the ears in between the two layers. I've got a few nice odd part balls of wool that I think I might use. I just need to make sure I've got enough wool because I wanted to have nice thick long hair. There we go, that's going to go in between there to pin the ear, and we're going to sew all the way around the outside, so all the way around that outside, leaving the bottom open. That's where our head gusset's going to go in there, and the back's open for filling. Now let's pop that head gusset into position. Okay, now on our unjointed doll, this would just be a part that's joined onto the neck. So this circle, this neck gusset, is the bit that's going to give you a bed for the button to sit against, and your button is 4.5 centimeters. So your your circle within your seam needs to be 4.5 centimeters. You want it to be as close to the diameter of the button as possible. So keep your seam allowance precise. That's 5 millimeters, which I think is just under 1/4 inch, all the way around. I've lined up the notches with the back of the head, the join in the back of the head with the dart on the chin, and this one's going to the side of the head. And here's the other side of the head, just there. There we go. And then, as with the bottom of the foot, when we eased the foot bottom into position around the bottom of the leg, we're going to do the same here. We smooth the curves out, ease it into position, make sure it lines up, and then pin. So you don't want to pucker or wrinkle around this neck. Probably very technical sewing terms, but you might have noticed this isn't the most technical of tutorials. We just want to get a gorgeous doll at the end. That's in between the notches there. We've pinned, and we'll do one last one here, just there. Line it up, line the edge of the neck gusset up with the bottom of the head and pin, and that'll give us a nice smooth circle, and we're going to sew all the way around there, and that's done. Our head is complete. That concludes our tutorial video. I hope it's been helpful. If it has, please subscribe. We'd love your feedback and a like. There are more videos coming soon.